For us to interview the MotoGP World Champion Nicky Hayden, and today he's here in the studio. Morning, Nicky.
All right, morning. Thanks for having me in.
Now, let me just explain for those who are not following MotoGP that Nicky is a 25-year-old American who won the world title ahead of 5-times winner Valentino Rossi last month, and Nicky suffered a major setback in the penultimate race of the season. We're going to talk to him about this in a second, when he was knocked off his bike by his teammate, Dani Pedrosa. Don't know if they're still talking. We'll find out in a second. Let's have a listen to some of the highlights of how Nicky Hayden became world champion.
Shot the fox in this championship.
Well, did we not say it? I can't believe he did that. What an idiot, really, frantically. He just dived down the inside, too much front brake. He's trailing the front brake. He watched the front end slide, and that was unreal. Look at it, down the inside there, just watch the front end fold. There it goes, and takes out Nicky, and that's the end of it, really. Valentino Rossi has basically been handed this championship. Nicky Hayden is absolutely furious. I think he'd be in his right to go over and punch his teammate.
Who would have thought it?
Here we go.
Across the line, it is going to be Troy Bayliss to win in Spain. Capirossi across the line in second place. And hold your breath and wait for it. Nicky Hayden crosses the line in third place. Nicky Hayden is the world champion.
Yeah, world champion, man. I'm just really proud, man. You know, you dream about being world champion and dedicate your whole life to something. It feels good when you accomplish it.
How does it feel to hear that again, Nicky?
Yeah, brought back a few good memories for sure. You know, remembered right there the low point of the year and the high point, so y'all got it all.
Happening in the two last races.
Yeah, it's, you know, I guess that's the great thing about racing. You can't predict it, and that's why we line up, man. You just don't expect to get taken out by your teammate and then to come back and still pull it off. Man, it was a great year. Just
talk us through what happened in that penultimate race when your teammate took you out. Did you go and punch him, by the way?
No, I restrained.
You felt like it.
Took a lot. I'm not sure how I held that in, but yeah, you know, I mean, was a dumb move. I mean, I think Danny knows that. He don't need anybody else to keep telling him. And, you know, we make mistakes racing. He was racing hard and going for it. But at the time, you know, I mean, when I had a chance to win the titles, was pretty bonehead. But, you know, I mean, we were out there fighting and scrapping. But, you know, made a mistake. But still in racing, I still had a chance. And Rossi ended up making his mistake there at the finale at Valencia. And we still pulled it off. So it's
What did you say to Danny after the race?
Well, he,
can you say it on the air?
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, Danny hated it, and, you know, I mean, it just made our team look silly, and, you know, it was just a bad deal for Repsol Honda. But the main thing I told him is I still needed his help for Valencia, and, you know, the scenario went. If I won Valencia and Pedrosa got second, I could still win. So, you know, and in Valencia, he did help me when I got behind him. He left the door pretty well wide open for me and let me through, and, you know, Rossi crashed, so I didn't actually need his help. But, you know, he did make it up to me. You know, he came to me Saturday night at Valencia and pretty well told me straight up he was going to help me if he could, and you know, I respected him for that. I mean, it's still Honda didn't actually give him a team order, but we just had a gentleman's agreement, and yeah, we're all cool now. I mean, I told him, you know, if I'd have lost the title, I probably would never forgave him, but I still won, so I'm a man of my word. I let it go, and me and Danny were straight.
How did it feel beating Rossi?
Oh yeah, man, unbelievable. You know, it was really awesome to win the title, and like you say, beating Rossi, that's what, you know, made it even extra special. You know, wasn't beating up on your little brother or picking on the, you know, kid in the class. You know, I mean, that was a 5-time world champ, and he had some problems this year, but basically over 17 races, we came out on top. And you know, I know we've made him mad, and I'm looking forward to next year. I think you know, I feel like my best is yet to come, and yeah, it was great to challenge him and go toe to toe with a real champion like that and duke it out.
Listen, I got lots and lots of emails and texts and people ringing up to ask you questions. Let me start with this one from Chris in Flitwick, who says, following on from what we've just been talking about, says, is it going to be difficult working with Danny next year, regardless of what happened recently? He always looks so bloody miserable anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly Mr. Personality. I mean, that's just, you know, that's his style, and, you know, it works for him. He's grown up in MotoGP and, or, you know, around racing, I think, and maybe don't really understand how to express his other things. I don't know. I can't worry about him, but, sure it's going to be, I can't say hard working with him, but, he's going to be a big competitor next year. And but I think me and him are going to have to work together to develop this new bike. And, can't just be me against him. I need both of us to give HRC our feedback. And me and him, we can put all this behind us and, I think, have a strong team again.
And Chris says in another question, says, what's the new 800 like and can I have a go on it? He says.
Well, it's not my call. If it was up to me, then, I'd say bring your helmet. Let's go. Let's get a few laps in. But it's quite different. It's definitely really small. And honestly, right now, I'm not super comfortable on it. Honda definitely have changed it up a lot. And, it's going to be a big difference. But I think the racing is going to be just as good. And, right now, I think we got to understand this bike, the potential, and, what we need to do to get the most out of it. So I got some good guys working for me over there at Repsol Honda, strong squad, and I'm sure come round one we'll be ready to, fight.
Now, Steve Pitt is the listener who wanted us really desperately to get you on the air today, and he's on the line to us now. Steve?
Well, I'm in the studio in Birmingham, actually.
Oh, you're in the studio, even better.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, well, Nicky's right here and he can hear you. Is there one particular question you wanted to put to Nicky?
Not particular one, but I've got a lot of questions.
You got a list, have you? We'll start with one.
Start at the top.
Well, firstly, how's your brother doing? How's your brother Tommy doing? I understand he fell off on his AMA bike.
Yeah, no, I just flew in last night from Malaysia. We were over there testing him. My older brother was with me, and he seems okay. Definitely took a big hit, and he's got a severe concussion, and beat up, just a lot of road rash and bruise and stuff. But he got on flight, headed back home, and resting up. So
because we should explain to everybody who's listening to this who doesn't know about your life and times that the whole family's involved in motorbikes, isn't it, Nicky?
Oh yeah, it's right from
your
the
dad?
top. My dad, he's the one who got all this started, and both my brothers are factory superbike racers in America. My older brother, he's the 2-time Supersport defending champion in America. So yeah, this racing runs thick.
What was it like when you were kids? Because you started on a motorbike when you were about 3, didn't you?
Yeah, my older sister actually used to race too and was pretty fast.
It said here, can I just tell you, it said in the notes here that your mother and your sister both took part in what were described as powder puff races.
Yeah, in America they
That sounds a bit rude and offensive. It sounds like powder puff races aren't the same as you macho guys take part in. What are they like? They tough?
Well, actually, quite fast. You'd be surprised. Some of these girls got some skills, so I'm glad they weren't always against me. But yeah, definitely, like you say, my dad raced. Both my brothers now are professionals. So the sport of motorcycle racing's been really good to me and my family.
Steve, another question.
Well, I've got 2 sons. When should I get them on a motorcycle? One's 4, one's 18 months. When should I be on bikes?
Well, I'd say that 18-month-old one still got a little bit of time. But, that one who's 4, I mean, you don't want to wait till it's too late. A lot of when you start young can develop it, but it's got to be the
What kind of bike do you ride when you're 4?
Well, I started out on just like almost a dirt bike. That's kind of, a little 50 dirt bike sort of thing, and we grew up. We had a farm there, and I got my brother's hand-me-down bike.
Steve, are you thinking of getting the 4-year-old out there?
I wouldn't mind. Don't tell his mother, but I wouldn't mind. Yeah, it'd be quite good fun. What does it feel like though to ride the MotoGP bike? For a non-motorcycle. I mean, I ride bikes, so I can sort of understand. But what does it feel like for a non-motorcyclist to ride something that fast and that light, and with that much sort of power, and what forces are going through your body? What does it feel like? Can you describe it?
Well, no, actually, that's kind of hard to describe, really. I mean, I guess there's not really one word or something, and I guess that's the cool thing about it. I mean, there's only about 18 guys in the world that get to ride one of these bikes a year, and I feel really privileged to be one of them. But I'll say it's intense, and the speed and the bike is, it's incredible, the things you can do on them, and definitely fortunate.
Let me just read you this from Steve Blair. It says, well done, 5 Live, for raising the profile of MotoGP. I'm a Yamaha fan. If Nicky was to sign for Yamaha with Valentino Rossi, then things would be just perfect. Any chance of that happening, Nicky?
Well, I just signed a new 2-year deal with Honda, so it maybe at the end of this one runs out, it's possible, but I got a good relationship with Honda, so he'll have to wait a few years.
And he also says, what piece of advice, just briefly before the news, would Nicky give to young British riders in order to reach the level that you've reached? What does it take?
Well, I think it's going to take a lot of sacrifices. I mean, definitely you got to be hungry and got to be ready, willing to risk a lot, and just can't quit. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to doubt you, tell you can't do it. Probably going to be a few injuries and a few roadblocks in the way, but main thing is just keep coming back somehow, some way, keep finding a way to get to that next step, and I'd say try to get around some good people and, just get as much experience as you can.
Okay, Nicky, we're going to talk some more after the news. I know you've got to go at about 11:10, but I have loads of questions to put to you. We'll talk to you in a second, and lots more conversation to come here on 5 Live, on AM, on digital, and online. Campion is with us in the studio, and I'm now being inundated with questions for you, Nicky, from our listeners. Just another one here from Stuart, who sends us an email. What do you ride when you're not competing, i.e. around town, and do you ride it as if you're racing?
Well, I had a street bike, and that's the problem. Honda had gave me a 600, but I had to let that boy go because I thought I was racing and realized I was going to get hurt or in too much trouble. So now I just have I have some dirt bikes and super motard bikes I use for training and stuff, but I just have a scooter, actually, that is about as much as I ride. I mean, I cruise up, eat lunch on it and stuff. But my brother's got one, and getting enough trouble racing around town on my scooter, so that's...
You're still trying to push the scooter to the limit, do you?
Yeah, we always seem to, get in a parking lot and set up a little track and get to racing around. I guess it's kind of like I said, in our blood, and don't know anything any different.
You mentioned the injuries, and obviously we're hearing about what's happened to your brother and, the problems that he's having at the moment. Have you ever had an injury and you thought, I can't go on with this, that's just too dangerous, that's too bad?
No, I mean, I've had some injuries and stuff, but, I love what I do, and, I'm prepared for the risk, I mean, it's got big rewards, but it is big risk, and, I think definitely some people, I don't blame them, don't like the pain, and I don't exactly like getting hurt, but it's what I do, part of my job. Actually, next week I'm going in for a shoulder operation, just to fix up. Actually, when we crashed with my teammate there, I made a shoulder injury worse and actually fractured a little bone in my shoulder. And in the meantime, I'm going to get a plate taken out of there and get some damage done. So hopefully I'm not off the bike too long.
How many bits and pieces have you got inside you?
I definitely got some hardware in me.
Do you set off the metal detectors at airports?
Yeah, unfortunately so. And
so whereabouts are these bits of plate?
Mainly in my hand. Well, this plate's in my collarbone. I got a plate and 7 screws in my collarbone. Going to take that boy out, and got some stuff in my wrist and my fingers and stuff. And luckily, knock on wood, I haven't had any major accidents lately. And this year I was pretty healthy. That's a big part of it. Is staying healthy over the whole season and staying fit.
Good riders don't tend to fall off, though, do they? The good riders don't tend to fall off. The Rossi never falls off. If a particularly good rider is good, they get their crashing done early and then they stay on. Nicky's a pretty good level. He rarely crashes.
Is that right, Nicky?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think, in our sport, just a lot of balls and being a crasher, it's going to catch up with you. So at a time, you got to find that limit and be able to ride the limit without going over because, this sport, like you say, you can't just keep getting away with that stuff week after week. And
is it right that your father's bike had the number 69 because he wanted it to be the same whichever way up the bike was?
Exactly. Now, my father was a crasher, and he'll be the first to tell you he didn't have a lot of talent, but had a lot of guts, he says, and got him in a lot of trouble and got him beat up.
Let's bring in some callers who've rung us on 0500 909 693. Graham, morning to you. Thanks for hanging on.
Morning.
You're through to Nicky.
Okay, hi Nicky.
What's happening?
Congratulations on clinching your championship and giving us all us race fans a great season of entertainment. My question is about the new capacity being reduced down to 800cc for next year, and whether you feel that's going to give small riders an unfair advantage. I know in the smaller classes there is a minimum weight set for the combined rider and bike, and I wonder if you feel something similar ought to be introduced for MotoGP.
Well, I mean, I would probably like to see something like that implied because I'm quite a big guy compared to some of these new kids coming in. But maybe that's being a bit of a sissy. I mean, I think being small does have a lot of advantages on tire wear, acceleration, but also probably has some disadvantages as far as being able to take some of those crashes and getting the bike changed. But I think we got to be careful, I mean, because now the teams, I mean, if you see these new 800s, they're just making them tiny. I mean,
they are tiny.
And I think, as the time goes on, it's going to be hard for normal. I don't think I'm a big guy, but I'm pretty normal sized. But in the world of MotoGP now, I'm getting kind of big, you know. I mean, a lot of these guys, these riders want now are jockey size.
Well, I saw a picture of Thumbelina Pedrosa on his bike, and he looks normal size. So surely people like yourself and Rossi are going to look too gangly on the bikes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to change the experience completely, is it, Nicky? I mean, you're going to have to ride in a different way with that different capacity?
Yeah, definitely a different style because the bikes don't have the acceleration, the torque, so I think the corner speed is going to be picked up, and, you know, it's not going to be so important to get the bike, you know, slowed down and turned as much as keeping your momentum up and keeping tucked in. So it'll be different. It'll be interesting, but I don't think the racing's going to suffer. I think the racing will be just as close and as exciting as ever.
Okay, let's rattle through a few more questions. Thanks very much indeed for that, Graham. Sean has called us from Birmingham. Off you go, Sean.
Hi, Nicky.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Congratulations on your championship.
All right, thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Really happy about it.
Yeah, that's great. I'd just like to ask you, I know your brothers are the two factory riders for Kawasaki in the AMA.
Yeah, one of them actually is going Suzuki, so my dad's got us all mixed around now. One Honda, one Suzuki, one Kawasaki.
That's it, it's great, yeah. And I know, like, there's a ride coming up in the MotoGP in the Kawasaki. Now Shinya's gone to Konica Minolta. Would there be any chance of one of your brothers coming over into the MotoGP paddock?
You know, not next year. I think my older brother definitely had a shot at that, but he had already signed with Suzuki when they found out Shinya was leaving, so I think Olivia Jacques going to do that. So, you know, it's tough to get a break in MotoGP. You know, you got to be in that right place at the right time, and a lot of politics. But, yeah, I'd love to see one of my brothers get a crack at it. They both really good riders.
Okay, Sean, thanks very much indeed for that. And final question, because I know you've got to go, Nicky. Chris in the Isle of Man says, have you ever been tempted to ride in the Isle of Man TT?
Well, I mean, it looks quite exciting, but to be honest with you, I mean, you know, those guys I respect what they do, got unbelievable skills, but I'd rather stick to the real racetrack because that Isle of Man, I don't think I'm up to it.
Even for you, it's a bit scary.
Them are bad boys right there, so who knows? I wouldn't mind doing a lap around there one day, but I'm not sure about race pace just yet.
Okay, Nicky, it's been fantastic to talk to you. Thank you very much for sparing the time to come here this morning. Thanks to Steve Pitt as well, our listener who suggested it.
Yeah, thanks for everybody for having me on, and all the support here in the UK is great, and I see everybody next year at Donington Park, so yeah.
Okay,
Cheers.
Nicky Hayden, thank you very much indeed. 11:10 now, we move on to